Welcome to Damon Does the Six Questions, where the same six questions can tell a unique story. I am your host, Damon, father of two, husband of one, and leader of this here Demodcast. And thank you for hitting play, joining me, and for the reviews. If you listen and like the show, you can leave a review on your podcast app. More reviews prove that you're listening and will show up recommending shows like this, and takes less than a minute. My guest grew up in Philadelphia and began weaving stories at an early age. She is a poet and writer of horror, fantasy, and science fiction. She is also the first African-American winner of the Horror Writers Association Bram Stoker Award, which she has won not one, not two, not three, but four freaking times, and is also the winner
of the... God, five. I'm sorry.
I was getting there, and is also the winner of the Horror HWA Lifetime Achievement Award, which means fifth. That's her fifth time winning. She's a trailblazer, hellraiser, obviously, and eyebrow raiser. Give it up for Linda Addison.
Oh my God, that's like a Philadelphia cheer there. I like it. I was going to say I've actually won five because I won a fifth one this year. So that makes six of the awards in the house. But
well, doggone it, I'm going to have to re-record that. And
No, don't you dare. Don't you dare.
Thank you for taking time out of your precious day to talk to a perfect stranger.
Joy and pleasure. Always happy to talk about creating stuff. I'm always happy to talk about creative things, especially in your interesting questions that you have.
How does somebody with a BS in mathematics wind up being a Bram Stoker winner for six times? How does that happen?
I know. It doesn't seem like an equal equation, does it?
No.
Well, I mean, the thing is that I grew up with a crazy imagination. It was always in like the wild fantasy, area, sci-fi, horror area. But I also grew up with 9 of us in the house and not always a lot of food and heat and lights. And I decided that being a writer, which I knew I had to do, was not necessarily a choice that would lead me to being able to have a good life, to be able to eat every day. So I was good in math and science, so that was the route I went for getting a job.
You're the second oldest of 10, right?
I am the second oldest. So 9 of us grew together, and then I found out later I had an older brother, but I was the oldest in the house growing up. So.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And my mom was an amazing storyteller. I don't know where I would be now if it not been for her, because in times when we maybe didn't have electricity or TV or anything, she would make up wonderful stories. Until I got to school thinking everybody got to make stories. So my imagination got a pass because of my mom.
Wow, that's cool. Do you remember any of those stories that your mom told you when you were younger?
I kind of do. I wish I had written more of them down, but I do have. She passed in 2009, but I do have one that she wrote, like a child story she wrote for my sister's daughter. So I remember bits and pieces of it. So it was mostly like fantasy adventure kind of things. Reminds me a little bit of Alice in Wonderland type stuff. But she made them up and she put us in the stories. I grew up thinking that was just natural.
That's cool. Are you ready to answer the 6 questions?
I'm ready to give it a try. Let's go.
Question number 1. I think we already answered this, but you can go into as much detail as you like. When did you know you wanted to become a writer?
I do have something to add to what we talked about. When I grew up, there wasn't a lot of books in the house. I didn't connect storytelling, imagination to necessarily a physical book. When I went to school, the first time I remember a teacher reading to us from like a Steve, Dick, Jane Run book. And I remember looking at the pictures and hearing the story and thinking, I want to make things like that. So that was the first time I realized that I wanted to make books. I had no idea what that meant at 6 years old or 5, but that was that never left me.
Question number 2. What do you wish you had known when you had started out?
This is a good question. I'm not one to live with regret. Just never found it very useful. I do look back and think, what can I learn from things in the past? But, I pretty much try to accept and love what the past was because it got me to here. I think if I could give myself a message, I would say, don't be afraid to write novels. Now, I know that sounds kind of funny, but my whole career has been made on collections of poetry and short stories. And I was always afraid of writing novels because I thought if I started a novel, it's just such a big landscape. I'd get lost, never get out, never write and publish anything again. So, in 2012, when I won another Bran Stoker for How to Recognize a Demon and Become Your Friend, which has been one of the more popular books of mine, I was at the award ceremony, and two huge people in the horror industry, Joe Lansdale and Rick Postula, came up to me, and they sort of like got up in front of me and were like, "Oh, Linda, we just want to know, why haven't you ever written a novel?" And I was like, because I'm scared. I'm scared I'll get lost.
Wow.
I can't remember which said it, but they said to me, "But Linda, you could just write a novel like every chapter's a story. You know how to write a story, beginning, middle, end." And that sort of worked on me and got rid of a lot of the fear. So, if I'd known earlier, maybe I would have done some novel writing earlier. I don't know, but I'm doing it now.
Okay, if I got this backwards, I apologize. I remember an interview you did, and you were talking about sometimes when you get stuck, or as a suggestion for writers who get stuck, take your prose or like your sentences, turn it into a poem, and then turn it back into a sentence. Did I get that right, or did I get that backwards?
That is absolutely, no, that's right. I do that a lot, and I teach a workshop. I'm actually going to teach a workshop through the HWA online in October. In the workshop, one of the things I teach is that you can do that. What it does is it gets you out of the headset of whatever you think the story, character, plot is, and get you into the idea that, in poetry, I think of poetry being something that creates a vision, an image, an emotion. And so if you take whatever it is that you just wrote and boil it down to just words, taking out all the extra and, does, and all that stuff, that it can get you to the actual emotion of what you're trying to communicate. So that when you go back to the story or novel, you go back prepared with the real emotion that you're trying to write, rather than getting stuck on edits or grammar or even the rules about character development. I think it's really important just to get through something to the end and then go back and, do all the fixing up and prettiness. So I think what stops a lot of people and is just the getting stuck. So I use it a lot. I've actually published stories and the poem of the story. So it's actually worked out not badly.
Question number 3. What's your go-to order at your favorite hometown restaurant?
Honestly, no one's ever asked me this. This is awesome. You have no idea how many times people have interviewed me. No one has asked this. Okay, so my favorite restaurant is 1 block away from here, and it's called Golden Dragon Chinese Restaurant. And as much as I always say I want to order other things, this is the one thing I always get. Their hot and sour soup, which is amazing. And I've had a lot of different ones in New York. I'm in Arizona now, and I'm very impressed. It's the best hot and sour soup I've ever had. Their orange beef, room, and their eggplant. Their Szechuan eggplant.
That sounds delicious.
I know. I feel like I'm going to have to order it when I finish talking to you.
You like to start your morning off with coffee, right? You're a big coffee
I do.
drinker.
Ooh.
Okay, we need to talk. We need to talk coffee. Okay, because I'm the same way. I get up before the kids. I have to get up super early just so I can have my coffee in peace because the kids are little
I'm
still.
saying, oh my God, yes, life is not good without that first cup.
So how do you take your coffee?
I like my coffee with flavored coffee made. All the different sweet flavors they have. I don't lean on a lot of sugar, although I have a syrup. But that's what I do in the morning. And I like to have French press coffee. My cousin Amber got me into that with a nice big splash of flavored coffee mate. After I finish that cup, life is good. I've had to train a lot of people, don't talk to me if you see a cup of coffee in my hand in the morning. Please, save your life.
Unless you would like to wear this coffee, you back away slowly.
Saying, man, I was in a day job once, and there was like a new person working for me on the team. I worked in computers, and everybody else knew. This new person comes, and I come in, I got the coffee in my hand, and he's talking to me as I'm walking, and I'd already explained the situation about this. And everyone else in the team was like, oh, just shaking their heads. And then I sit down, and he's still talking, I'm drinking my coffee, and then I finish the coffee, put the cup down, and I was like, so, you're going to have to say all that again. It did not pass through the brain matter thing because I didn't have a coffee in me. He just looked at me like, the second day when I came in, I had the cup of coffee. He stood up and he sat back down. I was like, you're not hard to train people.
That is awesome. I would have paid.
This is real truth. This is real life here.
Wow. Duly noted. Question number 4. What are you curious about?
Well, I love this question. I've been curious my whole life about everything. Like, I was a watcher when I was younger. Like, I would not be considered a shy person now. But until I got to college, I was very, very shy and introverted. And I watched everything, and I was always trying to figure out, why did that person say that? Why did that person do that? Because if I saw behavior that did not seem to support love and happiness, it seemed to support fear, I'd be like, why? Anyway. What I'm curious about right now, I'm obsessed with infinite realities, multiple worlds, more than 3 dimensions.
More than 3 dimensions?
So, yes. Like, what would it be like to... One of the things that I have in this sci-fi novel that I finished is trying to write about what would it be like to write about the 5th dimension. You know, infinite realities. What if, and I really like playing with this thing, the idea that we live in infinite realities, but we're only living in this one we're in, right? So maybe the one we're in, I'm wearing a red dress, but there's another one that exists where I'm wearing a green dress, and another one that, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's infinite versions of each moment. See how I am? See how this is the same brain I had when I was born? I was born like this, as that singer said. Born like this.
Your poor teachers. Just leave her alone. Let her get her homework done.
I'm saying, I'm totally that person. I always have been. When I was in school, I can remember my teachers telling my mom I would do much better in class if I was just like not daydream so much.
Question number 5. Is there anything I should have asked but didn't?
Well, something that I think most people would not think about asking, and that is the fact that I had a film release. I didn't have a film. A film was released this year that was inspired by one of my poems.
Really?
Really? I know, right? Who does that? There's an award-winning director and screenwriter, Jamal Hodge, Hodge, who I've known for many years, amazing filmmaker and fantastic sci-fi writer on his own and poet now. Been doing some amazing poetry. He showed me a script he had that was inspired by a poem that I wrote called Morning Meal. Morning like morning lost, not good morning America. Amazing. He turned it into a film, and the screenplay itself went on last year to win and place at a lot of film festivals. And this year, the film itself came out. So far, it's won 3 awards.
Wow.
He won Best Director. I know, right? It's just gotten started. This is just the beginning, please. He won Best Director of Short Film at the Genre Blast Festival. At the Hip Hop Film Festival, he just won Best Social Horror for the film. And he personally won the Vanguard Award because he's very involved in the field, very sharing of his resources with other filmmakers, and he does work with students. But anyway, he's an amazing person. And the next one we're looking forward to is the Chelsea Film Festival. It's a pretty big one. So, hey, film, poetry, how's that happen? Happening.
That is amazing. Valjean said you were a big deal, but I didn't realize you were that big of a deal. Wow.
Oh, okay. So like having 6 awards in my house, statues in my house, is not enough to do, huh? That is not enough to impress you.
If you want to be honest, I squealed like a little girl after I got off the phone with her. She's like, "Oh yeah, she's a big deal." And I looked at it, I was like, "Ah, you gotta be kidding me!" Like it's
hysterical.
It's basically went from like a capital B big deal to caps lock big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Oh my God, you're adorable. So for me, having this film is just everything. I mean, Jamal created, and one day you will see the film. I know this to be true. Created such a beautiful, high quality film with such a little bit of money. And for this to be the first thing for me, because I am very attracted to the visual thing. Like, I just want to see movies and series and stuff of my work. But for this to be the first thing that was done is just amazing. All the visuals, the music, the actors, the main actress in it was fantastic. Every single person in the film that he created. And it's a pretty dark one, but I think the award he got for social horror really made a lot of sense to me, because he really did explore the whole idea of how loss and can really break us. He did in a beautiful way.
Question number 6. If you could create a new holiday, what would it commemorate?
You know, we have so many holidays out there. I just found out yesterday was something about son's great son holiday, which I only have one son, so I sent him a happy son holiday to you. And I always tell him it's my favorite son, my only one. But anyway, I've always done that. But I think I would like to create something different. Why? Because that's how, like I told you, that's how I'm not really one for coloring in the lines all the time. So I think I would like to see a compassion hour holiday. And that is, if people so choose, the first hour of every day to spend some time committing themselves to being compassionate with themselves, and then with others that they love, and then those people who piss them off. Just to spend some time sitting with the idea that everyone has a story, that everyone's life is dictated by how they deal with their joy and their pain. And so to allow that in ourselves, to not be hard with ourselves when we act out in a way that we don't like, understand that comes from, to understand what people love, and to understand what people who piss us off. Don't mean you got to doesn't mean you got to put up with the bad behavior, but you got to understand it. It's really important to understand it and not take stuff personal like that. No, that's what I do. Compassionate hour.
Wow, that was really cool. That's a good one. Just dropping stuff.
I do it. I mean, that's what I do myself. I mean, as soon as my eyes open, I spend some time thinking about how I want to be today. I try to choose joy that day, no matter how bad that day might be coming in my face, and decide to sit in a more balanced place.
More of us need to adopt that, myself included. I do that sometimes. I don't do it enough. Thank you for the reminder.
It's a journey. It's all a journey.
That makes me sad because that was the last one. Thank you so much. I appreciate you and your time.
Well, it's been a blast. Thank you so much. I appreciate having the time with you to answer your interesting questions and to talk with you. Very cool.
You can find Linda at lindaaddisonpoet.com, all one word. You can also find her on Facebook and Twitter. The links will be in the show notes. Thank you, dear listener, for tuning in. And if you enjoyed the show, take another 2 minutes, log on to Apple Podcasts or wherever you downloaded this, leave a 5-star rating and a review. It would help the show grow. Remember, you can contact me at DemonDoes, all one word, on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. If you have a question or suggestion, you can also contact me at DemonDoes, once again, all one word, at gmail.com. Thank you once again, and please remember to leave a rating and review. It drives us up the charts so more people can enjoy the show. Next week, my guest is the first person I met in the outside podcasting world and is also a dedicated member of the Beehive. My guest, Marco DePrince. Well, until next time, see it, hear it, speak it, live.